It's a quite common stereotype that programmers and software developers suck at business. And this is because many developers just don't want to deal with the business side like marketing, sales, and mostly people, let's just be honest, but rather focus on coding and building out the best software that they can. But this topic has always interested me, and I always wondered why we fall into this stereotype. Because I came from the background of business. My parents owned businesses, my uncle owns businesses, a lot of people in my family own businesses and they're entrepreneurs. And as a kid, that always interested me. And so far, I've made some significant applications, at least in my opinion, such as this learning platform. I've also built out like an AI, where is it at? There we go. An AI voice to text application. I'm currently building out a SaaS starter template. So this one's one I'm mostly excited for. But I've built out some applications and I've always found it interesting. I always loved it. And plus, I hate the idea of working for someone else. I like working for myself. It's something I've always enjoyed. That begs the question, right? Why do we suck at business? Because I know at the beginning I talked about how there's a lot of programmers that don't want to do business. Those are not the group that I'm talking about. That's probably you watching this that wants to be an entrepreneur, wants to build out software applications, but just can't seem to get over the hump, can't seem to build it, or can't seem to make something out of it. The main reason why those developers that want to be entrepreneurs and want to make businesses suck at it is because they think like programmers. And here's exactly what I mean by this. When we're working at a company, it's really easy to just be a programmer. That's your only job, and that's the only thing you have to focus on. For example, you're told that you need to build features, so you focus on building features. You clean up code a lot, for example, and you tend to just hyper focus on code only because, again, that's your only job. And the typical thing you do in this sort of programming thinking is that you would code, push it to GitHub, and I don't know, release the product. But the main term that we could kind of put this under is employee-based thinking. And again, there's absolutely nothing wrong with thinking this way. This goes amazing and you'll have a very successful career as a programmer if you just get really good at this. But the main issue is that there are entrepreneurs that are programmers that think like this. That's probably why I sucked in the beginning, why you probably suck, why a lot of programmers fail at business. It's because they're focusing on the wrong things. Instead, let's get into the solution because, I'm talking a lot of shit now. Instead, what you want to do, I think you kind of know where we're going with this. It is to think like business people, whatever, think like business people. And by this, the only difference is that although you're still a programmer, you're doing it for the sake of the business first. So rather than doing it for the love of the game here, where you're coding for the sake of coding, for the sake of, getting better at programming, you're doing it here because you want to make the business better and you're trying to see how you can improve this business. And rather than coding for the sake of the company, for the sake of this small little feature, you're doing it for the purpose of the user and how the business will grow. It also means at a certain point, you're delegating some coding tasks. Because as a business person, you want to delegate, right? I have an editor, I'm delegating that task of an editor. That's how an entrepreneur thinks. He delegates, he gives away what he doesn't need or he's wasting too much time on. You're doing other things than just coding, so not just coding. And I think this is a very important thing to highlight. I know it's a little obvious, but it's not really if you think about it. It's really easy for a developer to think that they're going into business. So all they do is work on a feature. All they do is code. They add like a million features onto an application that's unnecessary. And they're only doing it not for the customer, not for the person that wants to pay, but rather for themselves and what they would like. And so if you're in this position where you're thinking like a programmer, and I guess there's a lot of us that are like this, then at least attempt to switch your thinking into business first. This does not mean that you must neglect coding, because coding is probably the most important part of your business and you have to do it, especially as a solo developer. But all I'm saying is that you must be basically a mix of a founder and a programmer all in one, where you're taking care of not only the coding part and you're, trying to be as productive as possible with the code, but you're also thinking about marketing strategies for your code, how your code fits in with other users, getting your users to try your software out early, sales, advertisements, all these things that also go into business that play a huge role in having a successful business. But yeah, if you want to build some cool stuff, I'll leave my Nizi Abbey learning platform down below. We have a bunch of courses on learning code. They're free, by the way. We have a backend course. We have a Stripe authentication course. There's like a bunch of them where like you're building actual things that apply to both your SaaS and just your own resume. But yeah, if you want to join the Discord server, I will leave that down below. And check out the video on the screen if you like this video. Happy coding, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.